And Heyman has run out of other people's money. OMG. Let me get my water on. Okay. Heyman's run out of other people's money, yeah. He ran out of other people's money a long time ago. He outslicked himself. Heyman got too slick. Heyman got too slick with that. Oh, you're wondering why I call the thing high tide? Well, Heyman got too slick. The tide came in high. And you know when there's a high tide, anything that's loose gets washed away. And that's what's happening to PBC. PBC was loose. And anything and everything that wasn't tied down is now getting washed away. You see, Canelo Alvarez did have a contract, but the PBC cannot fulfill the terms of the contract. So the PBC themselves are in breach of contract with Canelo Alvarez. Let us go further. Terence Crawford had a contract with the PBC, but the PBC themselves could not fulfill the terms of the contract. And so you see, the PBC themselves defaulted on the contract with Terence Bud Crawford, and as a result of which, Canelo walks because PBC breached. They can't pay him, but they are contractually obliged to pay him. And so Canelo walks. Terence Bud Crawford walks because the PBC cannot satisfy their obligations to him, their contractual obligations. And so they default, and Bud Crawford walks. So Canelo's gone. And even was just a 2-fight contract, Bud Crawford has gone. And that's why now, where is the confidence? How can Al Heyman instill confidence in his remaining roster that he can provide? Can Al Heyman provide? Deontay Wilder's gone. He's fighting over there under Al Turkey, His Excellency. So he's gone. I remember when he said, only one thing I really want is that, I want to be paid on time. We come to fight, we fight on the night, but I want to get paid on time. So it's been a while. It's been coming. Fighters finally acknowledging their dissatisfaction with the PBC. It's been coming. I've been telling you for a long time. Yes. The bronze plumber up in the building, the pyramid has started to collapse. Indeed it has. Mr. Coates. What coast you from, Mr. Coates? Is it the East Coast, West Coast of America? Okay. It's all about the money. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Ryan Garcia. His heart ain't really about being one of the greatest of his era. Look at his comments. Look at the comments which come out of his mouth, the comments which emanate from his mouth. Ryan Garcia, big money, small talent. Well. Okay, so high tide. Why high tide? Because in the high tide, anything unsecured, anything not tied down, when a high tide comes in, it gets washed away. And that's what it looks like is happening with the PBC. Can't fulfill their contractual obligations. So people have to walk. Furthermore, they've had people tied up in contracts, waiting for fights, locked in, locked down for years, with no end in sight. Midwest, home of Leon, Michael Spinks, Sonny Liston, St. Louis. I see. Midwest. Okay. So where are we? What's happening? Let's have a look. Eddie Hearn spoke earlier. Let's see if we can find that. Remember, we're not here for a good time. Sorry, we're not here for a long time. We are here for a good time. So hold on. Let's see if we can get. Let's see if we can get Eddie Hearn. Let's see if we can get Eddie Hearn. Hold on. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen.
You can't compare the numbers. You know, this is Haney Garcia's.
Okay. It's a bit messy. Let's see if we can make some sense of this.
You put two Mexicans in together. Yeah.
I don't even know if you'll be able to hear that. Let me see if I can move the mic to a halfway point. Un momento, mami, slow your tempo. Okay, let's try again.
Put two, maybe a country that's a little bit split in supporting the new charge and the king of boxing. You put a guy in with Canelo Alvarez that comes on the front foot, that throws plenty of punches.
Okay, he's talking about Canelo Alvarez.
Only comes forward. You've got an unbelievable all-Mexican war.
What's he talking about? Canelo and Benavidez, I would imagine. Or he's talking about Munguia. Most likely talking about Munguia. Let's carry on.
Why did the zone or matchroom let him?
Why did the zone or matchroom let Canelo go? That was the question. This is from Eddie Hearn.
It's for him. The only fight we had for him was Dimitri Bivol.
Hold on a second. Let's do this properly. I hope you can hear it. If you can hear it, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, let's do this. Oh, shut it. Shut it. What the hell is he always looking that way for? No, that's not it. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's continue.
which we couldn't make because Bivol had a fight to do, and then he was fighting better Biv. So we couldn't get that fight made. Bivol wanted to do it at 168. Canelo wanted it at the same terms.
Okay, so they couldn't get the Bivol versus Canelo fight made for reasons Hearn has just expressed. Hold on a second. Is this where we want to be? Is that where we want to be? Okay. Let us continue.
He had no choice but to join the PBC because they gave him a good path.
Okay, so Canelo joined the PBC because they gave him a good path. The zone didn't have nothing for him. Right, continue. Eddie, let me know if you can hear this properly.
The path eroded. The path that was mapped out never actually materialized. And
the path eroded. The path that was set never actually materialized. Sound is fine. Let's go.
He doesn't want to fight a guy. He was disappointed with the Charlo fight because Charlo ran for 12 rounds. He didn't even try and win the fight. And his brother would do the same. His brother might not even turn up.
OMG. Forget about the Charlo. Forget about Charlo times 2. Because the first Charlo ran for his damn life. And the second Charlo might not even turn up. Why not even turn up?
So you can't, you need a reliable plan. And a reliable plan, even if you think that, Mungia Belanga,
what the hell's going on?
When I've talked to
what the hell's going on? I'm not supposed to be showing that. Damn. I'm not supposed to. Have I been showing that all along? OMG. That's not what I'm supposed to be showing. I'm supposed to be showing you the static one. Is it that one? Or is it that one? Let's have a look. Hell's bells. Is it that one? Yeah, I think it's that one. That's the one that you should be seeing. Okay, save that. Let's go.
About Benavidez, like the fact that people think he won't fight, he actually laughs. This is a guy, he's fought everybody.
He laughs in the faces of the people who think that he won't fight Benavidez. He actually laughs in their faces. Hold on, make sure I get the right one.
Benavidez, and we'll do that deal to fight Benavidez.
We will do the deal to fight Benavidez. It ain't a problem. It ain't no thing. Canelo laughs when people think he's scared.
He wants activity. He wants a plan. Benavidez ain't happening in May. So if you're calling out Benavidez, he's across the street. You could have been able to, when you had Canelo, why wasn't it? Because the PBC don't want.
The PBC don't want to fight, man.
Not work with anyone, and now they're fucked. Yeah. So you get.
They don't want to work with anyone, and now they're. Tell them again, Eddie.
Situation where if I reached out to Benavidez, what the PBC do is they go, if I reached out to fucked, if you had Canelo, why wasn't it? Because the PBC don't want to work with anyone, and now they're fucked. Yeah.
Oh,
so you get to a situation.
Time. Eddie ain't holding back.
Where if I reached out to Benavidez, what the PBC do is they go, we're only making that fight on the PBC. We'll give Benavidez the opportunity. And this is what people don't understand. They're not willing to let their guys go on another platform to take a chance.
Damn. They're not willing to let it happen. Come on, Eddie, tell him.
To achieve greatness, it all has to happen with them only. Why do you think that?
So how does Malcolm
Because that's just how it
capitalize on
operates.
what's going on with the PBC?
That's just how. Hold on. Hold on. That's just how they do it. That's just how the PBC do it. It's the PBC way. We've talked about it many, many times over here for years. Rick Glazer's been predicting it for years. That's why we had him over on the show for years. You know what I'm saying? Now it looks like finally the prediction is coming to fruition. And with that, let us invite in the Big Boys Boxing from New Zealand. Big Boys Boxing. How are you receiving?
What's up, Raphie? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good over here. We're good over here. It's nice and cold outside, but it's warm in here. The PBC, they said a long time ago, they said there was a nursery rhyme. They used to go, London Bridge is falling down. But let me tell you, London Bridge is intact. But I will tell you what's falling down. It's the PBC. So it would appear. Big Boys Boxing.
Yeah, sorry, man. Your Wi-Fi let me cut out there for half of that. But yeah, the PBC way, they've been running that same model for so many years. They've been through, 4 or 5 networks. You know, the only recent ones are Fox and Showtime, but there was other networks before that. They keep burning them, and it doesn't make any sense to me why they keep doing the same thing over and over. And like Eddie Hearn said, now they're effed.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they've only got themselves to blame.
Well, it's not like it wasn't predicted. It was predicted. It's not like the business model wasn't questioned. It was questioned, but it seems like Uncle Al was acting like it was a game of Monopoly with other people's money. Or was it close to $1 billion in loans that he got to float PBC? PBC came in on a wave, say, hey, F pay-per-views. We want to bring fights back to terrestrial TV. Well, that only lasted for a while, and they only went and did the exact opposite of that which they spoke of on their launch. And that was very, very disappointing. And they've ended up basically, and at one time they were even talking about only forming their own boxing organization, their own governing body, their own belt organization. And it was around that time they stopped acknowledging Terence Bud Crawford as the WBO champion. Wasn't even show it on their on Showtime when they were talking about the other champions. And so when you get that level of, let's pretend this guy over there doesn't even exist because he's on the wrong side of the road, we're not even gonna show the factual truth about who are the champions. When you start to get to that, when you start to create that level of delusion, when you're trying to play tricks with the people, little magic tricks, let's make Terence Crawford disappear. When you start to do that, Shiznix, you are not in a good place. It reminds me of history class, history lessons at schools when Raphie was a young schoolboy, and they talked about propaganda. They talked about Nazi propaganda, how the Nazi tricked the people and used propaganda like this and show you different postcards of course, many years later, we realized that all sides use propaganda. But the PBC, they really pushed the boat out with it. It's a high tide, big boys boxing.
It sure is. It's not any different to what the Russians are doing to the Russians at the moment. You know, they're talking absolute crap and people believe it. And, you know, just because somebody who's in media says something, it doesn't mean it's true. Most of us know that. When they tried to make their own belt, it was almost comedic to me. You know, they were ignoring Terence Crawford because he held a WBO belt, but they had other champions that held that belt,
Right.
and they acknowledged them. So,
Right.
you know, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They've shot themselves in the foot for the last 10 years, and yeah, now they've pretty much shot themselves in the head. So, you know, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you got to have rocks in your head, and that's why I see it. PBC, they've all got rocks in their head. The guys running the show.
Yes, yes, yes. Most unfortunate, most unfortunate. And in comes the John D. Lee. John D. Lee, how do you do?
Good evening, Raph. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Very well. It's a high tide. It's a high tide, and you know what happens in a high tide? Anything that isn't secured gets washed away, gets taken away, floats away. And anything that isn't contractually secured, if you can't fulfill, if you're a promoter, management, whatever it is, management organization, whatever it is, if you cannot fulfill if either side cannot fulfill their contractual obligations, then the party that fails to have their contract honored is free to walk away. And that's what Terence Crawford appears to be doing. And that's what Canelo Alvarez, one of the faces of boxing, is also doing.
Well, I think the overall lesson here is no matter how much you control the narrative, no matter how much support you gain for your fighters and the narrative, if you don't make the fights that people want to see, people don't tune in to watch your actual product. So the PBC invested all of their effort into controlling narratives about their fighters, but they never delivered the fights people wanted to see. So they were quite successful at convincing a lot of people that it was other people that didn't deliver the fights.
Other people were at fault.
Yeah, they were pretty good at doing that, but it can only last for so long.
There's only so long fake folks can pretend.
Yeah, and on top of that, they still didn't deliver any fights that anybody wanted to see.
Infamy.
And finally, when they actually do it, their fighters got found out. And that's because if you leave the tool outside to rust away, it's not going to be sharp anymore.
Unless you cover it in oil first. With the Johnson's baby oil.
So then linseed oil is also good, Raphie. So
I stick to Johnson's baby oil.
Man, they could have even used cheap diesel.
You know, I know, but this is the problem, because what they would have needed to do is do some warm-up fights for the individuals concerned, and that wouldn't have created any cash anyway. So they've finally allowed their heavily protected fighters in with opposition that has been keeping sharp, and we've found out what happens.
Yeah,
all of their fighters lose. But the real issue is they don't understand that the way that fighters become a cash cow is by taking on challenges. So when Anthony Joshua fought Charles Martin pay more money.
Yeah.
It was part of the strategy. Canelo was not popular until he fought Golovkin because
Mhm.
people thought he was knocking him.
Hold on. Did he fight Mayweather before Golovkin?
Yeah, but he lost, and
He was popular. He was popular before. He was popular.
but he wasn't at this level.
He's not at
There
this
was a
level. No,
lot
but he was
of
popular.
There was a lot. He was popular amongst the Mexicans, but I don't think he crossed over.
Hold on a second. He was popular. His popularity probably increased when he lost to Mayweather. So that's in keeping with the argument. He took a chance, he lost, but it didn't. But his popularity grew. So that's keeping with your argument. What you're saying.
It is keeping with the argument, but I still think for him to truly cross over, he had to get the Golovkin fights behind him and then start taking actual challenges. Because when he was fighting Cotto at 155 pounds and fighting Amir Khan, people did not think he was challenging himself. So arguably, when he stopped following the formula, you could say that his popularity dipped. I think also getting some decisions in his favour didn't help him, like the Lara fight. But now that he has actually unified a division and took on one of the best in the division above and lost, people have forgotten all of this. And he's at the peak of his financial power, shall we say.
He's at the peak of his financial power. I think he's lost a step, but
quite arguably, yeah.
I think he's lost a step. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind he's lost a step. Everybody's going to lose a step at some point, and I think he's lost a step, but he's still a damn good fighter. I think his fame was cemented with the Mayweather fight because he was the young Mexican. Could he do it against one of the greatest of this era in Mayweather? Could he do it? And he came up short, but it was a damn good spectacle. And we knew that he was going to come again. We knew that he was going to be champion. We knew that he was probably going to learn lessons from the experience. We knew that he'd probably take some pages out of Mayweather's books in terms of techniques, and he did all of the above. And credit to the fella. Yes, there has been some controversy with his Mexican meat addiction, the donkey kebab meat. But it has to be said that he probably is the face of the sport, and he has gone up and he's gone down. There are criticisms which can be leveled against him, but he's been one of the outstanding achievers of this era, and he's shown how it's done. And to your point, yes, he's done it he's taken on challenges. Okay, the other side of the coin, you can say there's the weight draining argument. Okay, I understand, I hear it, but it's still far removed from what we've seen from the PBC boys. It's far removed from that, and the PBC way has clearly been demonstrated to not be the way you want to go. It's just not the good way. And now it's kind of shameful because people like Errol Spence, they're on the way out. He's on the way out. Thurman, we already thought he'd gone through the door, but apparently not. He's come back in. The Charlos, they're pretty much washed. And what are their greatest achievements? It's kind of mediocre. Al Heyman's reign, it's been kind of mediocre for the most part. What's he done? What has Al Heyman actually done? What he's actually done is he stopped a lot of the biggest fights from happening. That that unfortunately, it's so sad when you do when you could have done so much to have your legacy in the form of Al Heyman, for Al Heyman's legacy, for him to be known and remembered as the man who stopped some of the biggest fights happening. Big Boys Boxing. Talk to me.
Indeed, he has. You know, a lot of the time, it would have been a smart decision for Al to send his fighter to another platform, let somebody else pay for the fights, and have a cash surplus for the future for situations like what he's had with Canelo recently. You know, the contract was all about him fighting 2 Charlo fights. Didn't matter whether it was the same one or different ones. And then they were supposed to agree on a third opponent. But they were trying to change the contract because they didn't want to shell out the money for a second Charlo fight because they knew it wouldn't make them any money. But because of the contract, they were trying to get him to fight Jaime Munguia on PBC. So because it's in the contract and all the crap that's gone down over the last sort of 12 months since Canelo signed with PBC, it's not a good look for him in the future to get paid. So he pushed them to stick to the contract or the contract will be void. So he's managed to walk away, and now he's probably going to fight Jaime Munguia on his own for probably more money. So, you know, all these shenanigans from the PBC with avoiding fights, insisting everything is on their platform, has shot themselves in the foot. Now they've lost the face of boxing, the one fighter who could make them a decent amount of money to get them back on track. They've shot holes in their lifeboat. What a pack of dumb rock brains. You know.
The nautical themes gone.
Yeah, well, I've got no sympathy for them, and you know, they were even offered to be picked up by DAZN, but they refused that. DAZN is basically the biggest platform for boxing in the planet at the moment, and they turned it down.
You can't fight on an app, surely.
Sorry?
You can't fight on an app.
Oh no, you can't fight on an app, even though everything's moving to apps. And now that they've gone and signed this distribution deal with Amazon, they're getting no money out of it. Guess what? It's on an app.
OMG.
Oh, dumb rock brains, man. It's so funny.
So funny.
And all the guys who keep backing this organization and keep bleating about it's everybody else's fault, they're just as dumb. So I got no sympathy for none of them.
No, you can't. You can't. How can you have sympathy for a man who blew $1 million?
Yeah,
how can
it's
you?
crazy.
How can you? John D. Lee.
Well, hopefully, moving forward, we'll get more big fights.
Yeah.
And people will learn their lesson from this. Because it just hasn't worked. I mean, okay, Deontay Wilder might have lost to Vlad. But if he'd have won, he would have been massive. But they didn't want to take the risk. They didn't even want to get him to unify with Charles Martin. That could have at least been an all-US heavyweight unification fight to create some buzz.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that.
Yeah, wouldn't do that. Unbelievable.
They didn't do the Anthony Joshua fight. Repeat offer after offer after offer.
Unbelievable.
All the fights that they've blocked, the Terence Crawford and Spence fight, it didn't work.
Wrong side of the road. Wrong side of the road.
It just didn't work, did it? Because what happened was, you've got this group of people in the PBC that drink, want to do all this other stuff other than actually train hard and have fights.
Mm.
So that when it actually comes round to them taking on a challenge, they lose. So I'm just hopeful that the PBC does actually completely go down because their fighters are the ones who've suffered the most.
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
Yeah,
Deontay Wilder's got good money, and Spencer's got some good money, but I doubt the Charlos are gonna really have earned what they should have earned. And one of them, the younger Charlo, the smaller Charlo, however you want to do it, the 54, Mel, he was actually undisputed at his weight.
Yeah.
And they just put him in as a sacrificial lamb for Canelo. I don't understand why they didn't make that Benavidez fight straight away. Why didn't they do that as the first fight? Why did you put him in there with Canelo? What was the point?
Was Benavidez? I don't think Benavidez was even one of the three people. There's three names that they
Samson Lukowicz, I reckon, is the problem.
I think there's a high chance of that. I think
talk to me about that, big boys.
Well, Samson Lukowicz has been trying to degrade Canelo through the media for a couple of years at least, and anything that's been spoke about for a fight actually happening, Samson Lukowicz is the manager of Benavidez, who's shut everything down and then gone bleating to the media straight away, telling lies all the time. So it's not a good look from a business perspective for Canelo and his management to even want to deal with Samson Lukowicz. He's a bare-faced liar, and he's just trying to build it like a Canelo, like a Mayweather pack, trying to think that it's going to be that big in the end. But they're not going to get the fight at all if they keep playing these damn games. So I think that's the problem with Samson Lukowicz myself.
I think that Benavidez wasn't even on the contract of one of the three. I don't think he was one of the three. We don't know definitively. I don't think we know definitively who the three were. But well, we do know two of them. We do know it was the two. I mean, look at the ridiculousness of that. They get Canelo Alvarez. PBC get Canelo Alvarez. Signed to them for 3 fights, and 2 of those fights are against the Charlos.
And neither of them are 168 fighters.
And neither of them are 168 fighters.
It's actually worse than that.
Make that make sense to me.
It's worse than that, though, Raphie, because Benavidez is his WBC mandatory. So
they don't put the mandatory. Okay, for argument's sake, let's say it was possible that they could have jigged whoever the third person was, and it could have been Benavidez. Let's say that for argument's sake. Well, even so, yeah, the question that you asked is pertinent. Why was Benavidez not first? Okay, I can give an argument for that. I can say, well, supposing Benavidez beat Canelo in his first fight on PBC, everybody be laughing at them, saying that's bad business. Fine, I can understand that. But surely Canelo or Benavidez would have had to have been probably the second person on the contract, because if Benavidez beats Canelo in the second fight, then they've got a highly anticipated third fight. Or you could say, well, let Benavidez be the third fight, because if Benavidez beats him in the third fight, then Canelo ain't going anywhere. He's going to want the rematch. So PBC keep him for longer. So I can see an argument for keeping Benavidez to be the third fight on the 3-fight contract. I can see that argument. But that's not what the PBC is saying. They're not saying, well, Benavidez was going to be the third fight. They're not saying that. So we then come down to the reality that they got Canelo for 3 fights. They got Canelo in a 3-fight contract. And what we know is that 2 of those fights, the first 2 were against the Charlos. And I put it to you, members of the panel and members out there in the jury. I put it to you that this is just an indication of the lunacy of PBC. I think I might have to change the title. The lunacy of the PBC. It's just dumb. I can't say it makes no sense. It makes some kind of sense. It's very little sense, but some kind of little sense, but it's just absurd. It is absurd. This is where one of the reasons why the PBC went wrong, and Eddie Hearn spoke about it. It's the ridiculous matchmaking. The ridiculous. Where's the razzmatazz? Why aren't you putting Tank in with Conor Ben overseas? Why are you not? What's another fight that's fallen through? Why isn't Tank?
Well, the list for Tank is massive.
Well, the list for Tank is massive already. Why not the razzmatazz fights? Why are you trying to make it dour? What was more dour than Canelo versus the running man, the man who came to run away, the light Charlo, or is it Jamel? Why did you do that? It could have been so much more. It could have been a spectacle with the right fight. It could have been a spectacle. There's Munguia out there. Fair enough, he's with Golden Boy. But you brought him over. Put him in with top fights. You don't do that. And that's why the ship is sinking. Yeah, another nautical analogy. The ship is sinking, and rightly so. What did you do? We know you blocked a lot of fights, but come on, man. It's only appropriate that the ship sinks.
I need to come back to you on your points about Benavidez, though. Because if they'd put him in the first fight and he beats Canelo, they have the rematch. You've then either got a grounds for a trilogy because Canelo wins the rematch, or you've created a massive superstar because Benavidez has beaten Canelo and become undisputed at 168 pounds. And he's your fighter. And if Canelo loses 2 fights, and you know how to write a contract, you then no longer have to pay Canelo huge amounts of money.
Mm.
And you've created your own in-house star who won't command the same sort of size purses as Canelo. So you either get a trilogy that people actually want to see, you lose Benavidez, he gets battered, but it's a big fight and people would tune in and you'd make your money on that one. And then you've got a part to attract other people to fight Canelo on your platform.
Yeah, so, well, that's an alternative. That's an alternative way of looking at it.
So
I don't like trilogies anyway. I don't like back-to-back trilogies anyway. I'm not even.
I understand that.
Yeah. So that's why I reject that. That's why personally, if that comes up at the meeting, I'm putting an X through that one.
You might put an X through it, Raphie, but if you look at the alternatives, you get off to a good fight and you make money, yeah, rather than putting in a Charlo that nobody wanted to see anyway.
Mm. Yeah.
So what you've ended up with is a flop and nothing else available.
Mm.
So if you go straight in with the good product, at least you start off making money. And if he beats him soundly, you don't need to give Benavidez a rematch, and you've got enough money to attract people onto your platform then. You can actually start sending out offers.
Yeah. That's a possibility. That's a possible view. They could have done it that way. Me, I like Benavidez in the second or 3-fight contract. I like him in the second or the third.
But what would you put in for the first fight though? Because they haven't.
That's what I'm thinking. They're bringing it over. Where's the damn rankings? Let me pull up the rankings to see who they had, who all was there. Let me pull this thing up. What's he fighting at, Canelo? Super welterweight now? super middleweight,
Super middle.
super middle. Boxing world champs.
Or junior light, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah. Boxing world champion. Yep.
John's little business plan there isn't a bad idea, but if I was Al Heyman, I'd be saying, you don't know the American boxing market. You're a foreigner, and this is the kind of thing he'll tell his fighters. We won't do it like that because they don't know the market. We can make more money out of it doing it our way.
Yeah. Yeah. Boxing super. He just told you the champions. I want the rankings. Boxing world champion rankings. What do you say rankings? Rankings. Boxing world champion rankings. Let's go with boxing scene.
That's the one. Official rankings up the top, and it gives you all current bodies at the same time.
Yeah, official rankings. Let's scroll down. Super middleweight. Okay. Let's have a look who's available. Well, Jamie Munguia. I like Jamie Munguia, but he's a good golden boy. Who else? We got Caleb Plant, but no, Canelo's already beat him. We got Sergey Derevyanchenko, but that's pretty much he's a good fighter, but that's not a top fight bill. Demetrius Andrade just got beat. Edgar Berlanga is not of that caliber, although I wouldn't be surprised to see him up in there.
He's being talked about as Canelo's next fight as well.
I know. Really and truly, who would I want to see? I really want to see Jamie Munguia. You got Diego Pacheco, but is that a big enough name? Wow, when you look at it, there's not a lot of star names in the super middleweight category. There really isn't. There's very few.
There's only one star in that weight division.
Yeah. Well,
David Morrell should be up there too. He's a good fight, but I think he's not ready yet.
No, he's not ready yet. Who would I? So, bloody hell. Yeah, I mean, there is a good argument there. The only real guy they got for him, the top guy they got for him is Benavidez. It is Benavidez. It's hard. I mean, I would like Jamie Munguia. I think that would be a hell of a first fight. But like I say, Jamie Munguia is with the Golden Boy. I'm going down to middleweight now. Trying to find some star names there. Christopher Eubank Jr. People aren't going to be having that.
There's whispers of him possibly being Canelo's next fight too.
What, Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go, you see. I mean, because there's not a wash. These middleweight divisions are not a wash with big names. Chris Eubank Jr. made one of the biggest names at middleweight. I'm going down, and bloody hell, there is not a lot of top names, believe you me, hardly any that have public recognition. Christopher Eubank Jr. is probably one of the few middleweights who the housewife might know.
In the UK, at least, anyway. It wouldn't be a bad fight for Canelo to go to the UK and have that fight there and make decent money.
Boom. So, yeah. And Christopher, of course, the PBC did have Christopher Eubank Jr. So what I'm saying is you're asking me who would I have, and it's a mess. It's a mess. I'd have Munguia. I'd have Munguia as the first fight, Munguia or Christopher Eubank Jr. if Christopher Eubank Jr. didn't mess up the first Liam Smith fight. But he did come off the second fight looking very good. Yeah, it's a tricky one. You pays your money and you takes your choice.
Well,
It's-
if you look at the American market, I think the one that sells the most is the Benavidez fight.
I would agree with that.
And I'd go
Sure.
first with it because you've then created some money in the pot.
Yeah,
Actually made a profit for a change.
yeah.
And then you
It
can
also
really,
clears a mandatory.
yeah, exactly. You clear the mandatory. There's no downside for you because he's your fighter.
Yeah.
So if he wins, you're building up Benavidez.
They made a pig's ear of it.
Real pig's ear. Because the only other thing that I would be intrigued to see is the Crawford fight. Well, I get why Canelo says there's nothing there for him.
Yeah.
That's better for Crawford.
Yeah.
Because I can actually see how Crawford can win that fight.
I would like that fight as well.
Doesn't mean he would, but I can see a path to victory.
Yeah.
So
Besides the winner and loser, that's a massive money fight because so many people would buy it though.
Big
well,
time.
it'd do well. It would do well with the hardcores. I don't know if it crosses over.
Okay.
But does Canelo need to cross over? He's got enough people that just buy his fights anyway. That they'd be his core support would just be expecting to watch him win. They paid to watch him beat Amir Khan, so you're probably going to get enough money out of that anyway. So that would be the only other fight you might have started it off with. Crawford fight. Crawford, then Benavidez, then see what happens down to the result. It's the only other thing I can see, particularly after Crawford was coming off beating Spence because he had a lot of buzz and he had a lot of hype. So that would have been the other name, really. But it's a massive jump. But I think Crawford would have done it. Yeah. And he was there on the PBC, and now they've lost both of them.
Now they lost both of them. Bloody idiots, imbeciles, mismanagement. And he's had ample time to write. Hey, more nautical references. He's had ample time to right the ship.
But they waited for the tsunami. Now it's more than a spring tide. It's a real problem.
Yeah. Well, it's we're talking capsizing now.
Well, I think it'll be better for boxing if that happens. I don't see any benefit to boxing the PBC staying in.
Yeah. What's the benefit?
Well, they've let their fighters wither on the vine, and they've blocked the fights that we've wanted to see.
Wither on the vine. We got some farming. We got some farming analogies coming through now. Wither on the vine. I like that one. I just had some tomatoes, which were on the vine, but they certainly weren't withered.
They were still fresh.
They were still fresh and plump.
And juicy.
I don't think we've got time to expand on that.
We ain't got time to expand on that. Fresh and lump. Okay. I've got it in the picture, so we've got to talk about it for a few seconds. Haney versus Garcia. Who wins? Big Boys Boxing.
Easy money for Haney. And that's the only reason he's taking it, because of the social media following that's going to get him a whole lot of pay-per-views. Ryan's not that good. He's got a decent left hook, but a superior boxer like Devin Haney is going to make him look like an absolute amateur. It cracked me up when I saw the press conference this morning in New York. Was it New York? Los Angeles, somewhere there. A lot of the pundits were calling it a 50-50 fight. And I'm like, come on. You're just trying to sell it because there ain't no way it ain't no 50-50 fight, man.
It ain't 50-50. John Daly.
It's a 95.5% fight in favour of Devin Haney.
There you go.
Luke Campbell put Ryan down.
Yeah, did. Yeah.
Yes.
Ryan is just a disaster. He's like a Mexican Amir Khan. That chin is way up in the air. I don't care how good his hand speed is.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the skill to land those punches on Devin. And I think Devin knocks him out.
No, Tone, you'll be disappointed. There are
No.
no Mampis there for you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, there is actually a humongous Mampy, but she's not in that.
Yeah,
story.
that's not a Mampi. Surely obese is his own category.
Well, no, I think some people would say she's a Mampy. But yes, I believe to. No, but the thing is, I would think there's a shout for her being a Mampy because as big as she is, it's going to sound funny, but she is shapely with it.
No, that can happen. That can happen, right?
Yeah, she's shapely with it. She's obese, don't get it twisted, but she paradoxically,
It fits.
she's shapely with her obesity. And I've got to be honest, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of
Raphie's outing himself online.
There we go. I love big butts and I cannot lie.
No, I'm going to admit something which is very shameful. But if I have hostility with a woman, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to end up. It's just that simple. Now, she's actually got a good shape. Paradoxically, I'm not going to go there. We'd need harnesses and what have you. But I have to admit, I did take a look. And I made her laugh, and she was all giggly like a little schoolgirl. And I did look at her.
Giggity.
Raphie's got fond memories of the anti-gravitational device.
You know, truth be
And he's
told,
thinking about floating again.
The paradox is that she's obese, and I wouldn't go there. But in terms of the actual shape, she actually has a good shape.
But Raphie, when you're a committed bachelor like you,
Yeah.
you can indulge in some novelty experiences.
Well, but you can, and she's too much. Listen, she's utterly too much. But if we're talking about the actual shape, I will say, for an obese lady, she's got a good shape, man. I'm gonna
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Whoa.
Yeah.
We spent a good 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Discussing BBLs, E-slopes, shelves, and power hybrids.
Yeah.
I put forward a young lady who was at the end limit on size for me.
Yeah.
That you consistently ruled out as saying this is all too much.
Oh, yeah. And this
she
woman,
has a flat stomach.
Yeah.
And can run for a bus.
Yeah. She's still too much. And this woman's too much.
What you're describing to me here, if she's classed as obese, then that's like 10, 15 times the amount that I put forward.
Well, both of them are nose to me. Both of them are no-nos. But the shape, I can still recognize a good shape. It's just too big.
But sometimes, you might want to jump around on the bouncy castle raft.
But listen, joking aside, this woman is just simply too big. She's obese. But all I'm saying is that shape-wise, I
understand what you're saying because
I did look twice. I looked twice.
It's where you store the fat. I mean, you've got the unfortunate obese people.
Yeah.
That's all belly. They've still got a flat ass and no tit. I mean, that's just you.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Cruel. It's cruel.
Yeah, it's cruel.
Whereas if there's an even distribution, or preferably greater distribution across the top carriage and the bottom carriage,
which is where it is,
then it does create a feminine shape.
She is obese, but she has a feminine shape.
Yes, it happens. I mean,
and it happens. I'm not going to go there, but I did find myself sitting down. I
don't know, Raph. I'm getting concerned.
Listen,
the hostilities. We've already heard about the hostility.
Listen,
this is the path.
Yeah.
To dinner at Dawkins Towers.
No, she's not.
You can turn it down.
No. I draw the line. I have to draw the line, or else if you don't have boundaries, you'll end up anywhere. So there's a clear boundary. The boundaries are clear, but it's not going to stop me from a woman with a nice shape, be it tiny or extremely large. I'm not going to say I'm not going to just glance out of the corner of my eye. And I did. Listen, she's an obese woman with a surprisingly feminine shape. She's got a nice shape. Would I go there? Absolutely not. Will I glance and will I have a little joke with her in the future? I may. But it's not going to turn. It's not going to go beyond words. We may have. I can see she's open to a little bit of friendly banter. And we'll have that. And Tone sums it up. She'll never catch that bus, but I'll watch her chase it. And that is a perfect summary of how I feel. How do I feel about Haney? What's the boy's name there? Garcia? Yeah, same as everybody else. Haney is a more complete boxer. Garcia has speed. He has a couple of hooks, fast hands, couple of hooks, and he's not as complete. He's not as complete, but nowhere near. So yes, 90% Haney victory, 90% Haney victory. I've said all I want to say. And we've wrapped it up in a really good time, 1 hour, 22 minutes. That gives me plenty of time to unwind. That gives me about 45 minutes to unwind before bed with a nice cup of hot cocoa. Any final words, John Daly? Or thoughts, or anything you want to say?
Thanks for having me on, Raph.
Appreciate it. That was the John Daly. Smash the like button, everybody. And the Big Boys Boxing, all the way from New Zealand. He's got his own channel. Thanks for jumping on. Any final words you want to say about anything?
Just want to touch on Tank Davis being offered that money from Conor Benn to go over and fight there. What was it, 25 million or something? 15, 25, something?
At least minimum of 15.
All right, he says he's being lowballed. So where's the counter offer?
Good point. He's supposed to be the A side.
He's the A side. Where's his counter offer? So if he ain't gonna counter offer, he needs to shut his head.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and ponder on that until the next show. But thank you very much for having me on, Raphie. It's been a pleasure as usual, and I'll catch you next time, mate.
100%. That was the Big Boys Boxing. He's got his own channel. Go over there and check him out. All the way from New Zealand. Good to have Big Boys Boxing on and the John Daly. It's been good to talk. Well, they can make it big because remember, it's going to be PPV, pay-per-view in America. They're probably going to do it at the pay-per-view friendly time in the UK so they can claim pay-per-view over there. You know what I'm saying? They could easily screen the fight at 3 a.m. over here. You know, they can push it back. Late start for the American market, and that's how they'd get their money back. That's how they make the money on that. Only the crumbliest, flakiest chocolate could taste like chocolate never. Yeah, you know, and it was always in the summer, and there was always in the long wheat. Yeah, well, the first girl I'm talking about, she's got that kind of feel about her. Like, you know, she'd run through the fields in long wheat, and she's lithe. And the other one, she's a bit shorter. What is this? A bit shorter, a bit stockier. I'm not saying she's stocky, but I mean, you know, like a female gymnast, a shorter female gymnast with the thick limbs. Yeah, she's based on that. Shorter than the other one, thicker limbs, but fit nonetheless. Where are we? Sounds of those. I remember the show. What's this here? I remember the show with that lady with the dress. And in so many words, Raphie said You like stick figures. I like stick figures. Do I like stick figures? Do I? Why is this thing not moving? Well, why can't it? Oh, it's moving now. Where we at? Where we at? Stick figures. Stick figure. Something. I mean, I remember saying that, but yeah, I mean, if the shape is nice, then I'm good with it, man. From stick figures up to the bigger figures. I was married to one. No excitement there. Married to what? He was married to one what? Good. Yo, there ain't nothing flaky about me, son. Ain't nothing flaky about me, son. Ask Ashford and Simpson. You know the one there. You know that big hit, Ashford and Simpson. Yeah. What we got here? Ryan has no heart. That's his biggest problem. You blame not getting up from the body shot because of weight drain. Yo, that was a good shot though, man. Wait, one of them was Theresa May. Theresa May? Really? Really? Damn. Fun size Mars bars. OMG. Something about fields of wheat. Oh, a psycho. My God. Oh, Lord. You never said that before. I don't mean a real life psycho. She just has an intensity about her sometimes, you know? Or looks like she's got an intensity about her. Yeah, I need to be careful. But I actually, okay, well, if you want, hey, you want to hear this one then? You want to hear this one for me to sign out? You want me to sign out on this one? Okay. Well, Raphie, this is going to be the cliffhanger. I'm going to sign out on this. Raphie once dated a gal who had killed a previous partner with a weapon. OMG. To be continued. All I can say is sleep tight, don't have nightmares, yeah, and blessed. Oh.